Okay, so the three things you have to know about the case, the facts of the case, the constitutional question, and the decision and reasoning of the court. All right. So if we look at the first required Supreme Court case, what were the facts in the background? What happened? What happened? You might want to write this down too. This is, I mean, you probably highlighted it. If you did highlight it, that's good. But you probably want to write this down since it's a required Supreme Court case. What happened in the case? Go ahead.
National Bank. Congress made a national bank.
Congress created a national bank. Okay, it was up for renewal, and then what happened?
The states said that the Congress didn't have the powers to do that.
Okay, many states felt that the constitutionality of that bank was outside of the power given to Congress. Congress didn't have the power to create it. So what did Maryland do? Maryland did what? They passed a state law requiring any bank not chartered by the state of Maryland in Maryland was subject to a tax. Okay, so Maryland tries to tax the bank. James McCulloch, who is the cashier at the National Bank, says, I don't have to pay the tax. He refuses to pay the tax. The state of Maryland sues him, and it goes to court. Okay, like those are all the facts of the case. Congress created the National Bank. It was up for renewal. They were going to renew it. Second Bank of the United States, which was the renewal of the first bank, created by Congress to help control the amount of unregulated currency issued by the states. So it was created by by Congress, right? As Luke said, many states did not feel that Congress had the power to do so. Many states questioned the constitutionality of the banks, specifically, not the banks, but the banks that were being chartered in the states from the National Bank. They questioned the constitutionality of the National Bank. Said Congress didn't have the power to do so. So Maryland passes a state law basically requiring any bank not chartered by the state of Maryland, which guess what? Just happens to be this U.S. National Bank. It's the only bank in Maryland not chartered by the state. So it's targeting that bank, like the taxes on that bank, the National Bank. And some people felt the purpose of the tax was to destroy that bank, to get rid of the bank. So Maryland passes a state law requiring banks not chartered by Maryland to pay tax. James McCulloch, who is the cashier of the Baltimore branch of the U.S. Bank, the National Bank, refuses to pay it. Says, I don't have to pay it. We'll look at why here in a second. So James McCulloch, the federal cashier at the Baltimore branch of the U.S. Bank, refused to pay the tax. This is what happened. This is the background. Okay. So what constitutional questions does the case bring? There's two of them.
Is it constitutional? Is it unconstitutional for Congress to create a bank?
Does Congress have the constitutional power to create a national bank? That's the first question. Does Congress have the constitutional power to create a national bank? Doesn't say it in the Constitution, so some people would say no. And then what's the second question? Very good. Second question is, does the state of Maryland have the power to tax the national bank? Two questions. Does Congress have the power in the United States Constitution to create a U.S. bank? If not, the bank is unconstitutional. The Supreme Court would strike down that action, right? Judicial review to strike down that action is unconstitutional. You can't create a bank. Okay? But if they can, the answer to the first question is yes. Does the state of Maryland have the power to tax the national bank? And what is the decision and reasoning? What's the court's decision? And what is their reasoning behind it? There's two key clauses here. What's the answer to the first question? Does Congress have the power to create a U.S. bank?
Yes.
Why? What's their reasoning?
The necessary and proper clause.
Exactly.
There.
Exactly. Yes. Unanimous decision. Congress, yes. Does Congress have the power in the U.S. Constitution to create a bank? Yes. Although it doesn't specifically say it, it is one of those powers that is necessary and proper. So Congress does have the power to create a U.S. bank through the necessary and proper clause. Through other enumerated powers, power to tax, the power to borrow money, the power to coin money, those powers make it necessary for the U.S. to have a national bank. Okay, and what's the answer to the second question? Does Maryland have the right to tax that bank? U.S. National Bank. Does Congress have the power, or does the state of Maryland have the power to tax the national bank? I say Congress. Does Maryland have the power to tax the national bank? No! Why? What's the Supreme Court's reasoning? Yes, the Supremacy Clause. States do not have the power to tax federal institutions because of the Supremacy Clause. The Supremacy Clause says anytime United States law and United States federal national law and a state law conflict, which this does, the federal law creating a national bank, the state law taxing the national bank, when those conflict, the national law is supreme. So in this case, no, the state does not have the power to tax a federal institution that is a violation of Article 6, the Supremacy Clause. And the judge even said the power to tax involves the power to destroy. It's an effort by the state bank to destroy the national bank. All right, hold on to that. You want to keep that, put that, start building a file for your required Supreme Court cases, just like you have your documents, because there's going to be 14 more of these.